What is going on, everyone? This is Brandon, aka the Port City Attorney. Today we're going to be talking about Lil Nas X potentially getting sued over his Lil Nas X Gives Birth video. A website called The Blast Online is reporting that an artist by the name of Dana Dentata is threatening to sue Lil Nas X over his controversial Lil Nas X Gives Birth video. Now, this video was uploaded to YouTube and so far has about 15 million views. Dana Dentata is an artist who is claiming that Lil Nas X ripped off her idea based on a music video that she released prior, and I think it came out in July of 2021. She has sent a demand letter so far and made these claims that Lil Nas X ripped her off. Now, we got to talk about what a demand letter is and what's the difference between that and a lawsuit. So a demand letter is essentially a letter written by an attorney. It's also known as a cease and desist letter, where it essentially lays out potential claims that the person who is sending it, who has hired the attorney to send it, might have in court, and it's advising the target of that letter to stop what they're doing, cease and desist. And sometimes it also demands a monetary value, asking for a settlement. So it doesn't have any legal authority, but it can be used as a tool prior to litigation to attempt to settle a matter. I use these quite often. They do work, especially when the target knows or has reason to know that they potentially have done something wrong. However, my thought in this situation is that Lil Nas X probably has a pretty good team of lawyers. Not only that, whatever the music label is that put this out has some intellectual property rights that are involved. And so it's not just going to be a straight settlement based on this letter. Really, and I think that I think Dana Dentata, her attorney, knew that. But this is always the first step prior to filing some sort of a lawsuit. Now, the difference between that and a lawsuit is a lawsuit, you go ahead and just file it. You file it with the court. It has legal authority, and you have to do certain things to make sure that you do not go into what's called a default judgment. A default judgment is when someone just doesn't answer, and then the court enters judgment for whatever amount, reasonable amount, the plaintiff was asking for. That's not the case with a demand letter or cease and desist letter. You can literally throw it in the trash. However, it's usually a good faith effort to enter into negotiations. And so that's kind of the difference between the two. Now, if you haven't seen the Gives Birth video, I'm going to play a clip of it, but I would say for you to go to YouTube so you can see the rest of it. It is pretty wild, but we're going to take a clip. We're going to compare to Dana Dentata's clip and see what y'all think. So, without further ado,
I just thought. Okay, how much time do we have?
He's having this baby.
Oh, God, I think this guy's bussy water just broke.
What?
Ooh, that's a whole lot of bussy water.
Doctor, this is a boy.
God, dude.
It's food.
Whew, okay.
It's okay. Just breathe.
Breathe out. Baby's about to face. Doctor!
all right, you can go watch the rest of that on YouTube. It was controversial. I don't know why a bunch of people are mad about him, pretending to give birth, but that's how he sells records. Now, this is the video put out by Dana Dentata. And I think it came out in July of 2021, and this is what she is claiming he ripped off from her and utilized her intellectual property rights and infringed copyright. All right, and so that was the video, and you can go onto YouTube and see the rest of that video as well and compare them. However, that is the more salient piece that she is claiming that he ripped off by virtue of going into a hospital and with the birthing sound. So here's my thoughts. So number one, I think that they're completely, absolutely on the face different. Although in her video, she was walking down some sort of a corridor. She wasn't in any sort of a gown. She didn't appear to be pregnant. There was sounds of babies crying, but in the background, the music was saying, here to lay Dana to rest, which isn't really indicative of going into a maternity ward. Typically, I would think that that's a little bit more, going to the ER or something like that. They didn't show any birthing or anything like that in her video. Now, contrast that to Lil Nas X's. He was visibly pregnant. He gives birth to an album. They're talking about his badussy. And so there's just a whole lot of, I think there's a whole lot of differences. Now Dana is also claiming that the promotional material used infringes a copyright. And she compares and contrasts Lil Nas X's is going to be here. This is Lil Nas X's promotional material, and there's like a picture of him in the middle of the sonogram, and just it looks like a normal sonogram. Now with Dana's, hers has her name on it, the single, and then the date it was released. I don't think that there's enough here. And I should say that I'm not a copyright attorney or an intellectual property rights attorney. I've got some experience in litigation. And just on its face, I don't think that Dana Dentata has a copyright or any sort of intellectual property rights over sonograms. Those are done, I don't know, probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of times a day that one of those each individual pictures are printed off. I've got a ton for when I had kids. So I don't think that she has a right to claim that he cannot use a picture of a sonogram in promoting his album. My guess is there's plenty of other works of art that utilize a basic sonogram picture. And so I think that she's going to have a problem with that. I don't believe that there's enough on its face to show that he, ripped her off in any sort of way. The release of the videos, I think that they're pretty close too, and so I don't know if even production time, if he would have had time to rip her off. So I think that she's got a long way to go. So I don't think that Lil Nas X is going to be in too much trouble. He's got a lot of money. His label's got a lot of money. I don't think you got to worry about him at all. But that is what's going on with Lil Nas X. I appreciate y'all stopping by. Make sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments what you think.